Huge update in the ongoing rivalry between people who make video game and people who like playing said video game. You think they'd get along, but that's not how it works with Daddy Nintendo. Now, if you didn't watch a video that I released a couple days ago about this drama in the Smash community, I'd go check it out because there's a lot of context you're going to miss. Today, the big update is that there was a response from Nintendo and Panda, the two bad faith actors who shut down this Smash World Tour, this grassroots circuit event that was meant to become the Super Bowl of Smash. By the way, they canceled it Thanksgiving night, 2 weeks before the event was supposed to happen. So that's the story that we have going on. Anyway, this statement was released by Nintendo around midnight 30. They kind of wanted this one shoved under the radar. Hey, I get it. If I had a statement that was this bad, I would want it shoved under the radar too. And let's just take a look at it. Nintendo would like to explain to all the Smash fans what happened with the cancellation of Smash World Tour, or the non-granting of license. Nintendo's decision was solely based on our assessment in the proposals by Smash World Tour, not related to Panda Global. Okay, fine. Any partner we grant license to has to meet our high standards of health and safety and adhere to our IP, yada, yada, yada. When we notify the Smash World Tour we would not license their event, we also let them know verbally we would not require any cancellation of the 2022 finals because the impact it would have on players. Thus, the decision to cancel the event was and still is their own choice. We're still open to working with other people outside of Panda. It's not like Panda will be the only people we work with. And we really care about the Smash community. Now, maybe the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs of this statement seem believable, but once you see the sentence Nintendo cares about Super Smash Bros. Fans and its community very much, you know that it's all a crock of shit. And we know it's a crock of shit too because there was another update in response to this from the Smash World Tour committee. We're struggling to understand why Nintendo contacted us at all last week if they truly wanted us to continue operating. We're struggling to understand why they would not simply reach out to us after the event rather than rush to meet us the night before Thanksgiving, just 2 weeks before our championship event. Regardless, we stand by. They did say in the call that those times are over, aka those times of running events unofficially. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, maybe they should have just continued to run the event because they didn't get a cease and desist. They just didn't get a license and approval. To which I would say you could, but historically, Nintendo has cracked down on people who continue to operate when they're expressly told they're not going to be granted a license. The example we have is with the Big House. Now, the Big House is one of the largest tournaments of the year, and during COVID, they wanted to run an online event. Now, the online event was using Nintendo's IP in ways they didn't want. It had mods. It was like Slippy. Basically, Nintendo wasn't cool with it. So they reached out and they said, hey, we're not going to license your event. And the Big House chugged along. They said, we don't give a shit. We're going to continue on with our event until cease and desist. So that's another example of Nintendo saying, hey, we can't support your event. And then after continuing on with it, canceling said event. So just keep that in mind. I think this is why Smash World Tour felt forced to cancel the event. And now some people are saying, well, hey, they said you can run it, flip around and put it back on. But you can't flip-flop. You can't just keep flip-flopping. All right? It's not like a vasectomy. You can't just keep snipping and then putting it back together and snipping again. I don't really know how vasectomies work, but I hope that covers my thoughts. Anyway, that was the response from Nintendo. But of course, there's one more weird thing that people have latched onto, and it's the emphasis that Nintendo placed on how Smash World Tour did not cover their health and safety. Health and safety. Interesting. They didn't expand upon this, and it seemed kind of vague because they were very much in line with Nintendo's policies on IP. So what is this health and safety problem? Well, there was this leak from Aiden, who's part of the Art of Me. I have received info that Lost Tech City, another tournament in Texas, a Totem Panda Cup event, requested Nintendo directly to use the Smash World Tour health and safety guidelines, received no pushback, and was granted a license. Smash World Tour has to play by different rules. Weird of Nintendo to double down given that. Really good point here. Another event that had the same, not only the same, they were using Smash World Tour's health and safety guidelines, but that event was fine? I don't get it. And they won't expand, obviously, because they're kind of just trying to do a put it under the rug of a statement. That's why they released that shit at midnight 30. Now, I still waited to make a video about this because I wanted Panda to reply. And finally, Panda Global did yesterday afternoon. And their statement, I don't know how it's possible, I thought was somehow worse than Nintendo's. The team that manages and administers the Panda Cup has worked diligently to create an exciting event. And this is actually a really good point. It does contain over 40 members of the Smash community. And these people, I don't think, should be vilified in any way, shape, or form. The video editors, web devs, talent managers, everyone who works at Panda was probably not aware of the actions that Alan, the CEO of Panda, had solely taken. And I don't think they are to blame at all, whether they are sponsored by Panda or work with Panda. We were all as surprised as a public to see the announcement of the Smash World Tour cancellation, as well as the accompanying statement. That's not believable at all, because Alan, in several conversations, said that VGBC's Smash World Tour would be canceled and they would not be around in 2023. And they used that piece of information as a way to get other Smash events onto the Panda Cup rather than going to the Smash World Tour, because they wanted exclusivity with these events. So I maybe as a whole, Panda didn't know about it, but Alan certainly did. And the one thing that I think is missing in this statement is any just whisper of Alan's presence. He hasn't tweeted on his own account. He hasn't done shit. He didn't sign this statement. I don't even know who wrote this. It was some ghost person at Panda. Anyway, they continue that they are not someone who's engaged in conversations to shut down events, and Nintendo does their own thing, and we do our own thing, and we were happy to have 2 finals. And then they address some of the concerns. Panda's listened to the community and change our approaches to working with tournaments based on the feedback. In the Smash World Tour statement, there are a number of accusations leveled against Dr. Allen, the CEO of Panda. In reality, Dr. Allen, as Nintendo of America has corroborated, has been one of the more vocal supporters of the broader community and the Smash World Tour organizers in internal conversations. This is crazy to me. I can believe that Alan was trying to fight for the community, but only if the community was meant to be under the umbrella of the Panda Cup. I mean, he truly was like a Pokemon villain that wanted to level the world into an entire ocean so he could rebuild it himself. It's like textbook Nintendo villain, which maybe is why Nintendo liked him. This all makes sense. Anyway, they do acknowledge, however, and regret the interaction between Alan and Beyond the Summit, in which he spoke in a manner that did not reflect either guidance from Nintendo or our own standards. This, of course, is referring to when Alan talked to Beyond the Summit, and he wanted broadcasting rights for all of the tournaments that were under the Panda Cup. Now, Beyond the Summit owns those broadcasting rights because, I mean, just to be honest, they're one of the best at it. They get a lot of views when they run events or stream events for other companies, and they pay them a lot better than most people would. So they didn't want to give these rights up for free because that's how they make a lot of their money. And Alan threatened that they would no longer be able to work with Nintendo if they didn't give Panda the license to stream the events, which I don't know. I don't know crimes and laws. Feels like it breaks some. Am I crazy? Feels like a threat. I don't know. This feels like a slap on the wrist for threatening one of the largest companies in all of Smash, saying that you have to give us rights to broadcast, otherwise you won't be able to do what makes your business run anymore. It doesn't seem like the only way this statement to me is good is if Panda ditched Alan and then moved on with their own employees trying to do the best they can in the Smash and FGC scenes. It makes zero sense to me that they're still trying to be married to Alan. Maybe he just has full ownership and there's no way for them to do that. But what Alan has done, in my mind, is 1,000 times worse than what G2 Carlos did. All right? If Alan was caught partying with Andrew Tate, fuck, man, I'd be at Panda Cup the next week. All right? I'd think he's a piece of shit for it, but at least it doesn't affect the intrinsic community, which is trying to support a game that is so very hard to support. Anyway, the statement ends by saying we put a lot of hours into it and we're looking forward to our event in the promising future of Smash. Great. So basically the statement was like, hey, we didn't know this was going to happen. Fair enough. And the only thing that I will give to Panda is that I don't think that they have the direct control to cancel events on Nintendo's behalf. I don't believe they have that. I believe that is solely in Nintendo's discretion. I don't think Alan is that connected, but I do think he might have key information that lets him know, even ahead of the people whose events are about to be canceled, what events might be licensed or not licensed. And maybe he uses that information to try to gain more and more power in the community by trying to strong arm a lot of the smaller event organizers to be a part of his Panda Cup so that it's much bigger, and eventually dominates the scene as a whole. That's at least what it feels like to me on the surface without seeing more receipts and information. How did the community respond to this? These two Twitlongers? Well, a lot of people dropped from the Panda Cup. Now, again, the Panda Cup was meant to happen December 18th, in literally 2 weeks. 2 weeks, the week after the Smash Box or chess boxing event that I'm running. And Hungrybox, one of the best players in the world, dropped. Wizrobe, one of the best players in the world, dropped. Fendrick, who was meant to commentate the event and had a contract to commentate it, also dropped. And there was actually a concern from a lot of people because they had signed contracts, they had signed NDAs with Panda that they would get into legal trouble. And this is a funny thing. Ken Shen, who works at Liquid, used to work at Beyond the Summit, had a lawyer look over the NDA he signed with Panda, and apparently it only applies to parcels of real estate. Maybe a bad copy-paste or a template they didn't change, but it's not just mine that's messed up either. If you sign one, double-check it. So they didn't even get their NDAs correctly signed. That's kind of funny. And then the shit hit the fan when Panda employees and signed players started to drop. Wadi, he left Panda. Coney, one of the biggest Smash Ultimate commentators, he's leaving Panda. These are very hard decisions to make, by the way, right? It is not an easy thing to be a free agent in the Smash scene. That is a very known fact. There's not a lot of money that flows into this community. And so to be a free agent when you are getting a safe, comfortable paycheck from someone, even if that someone is led by what seems to be an asshole villain of a Pokemon show, sucks and is hard. So I think this is super brave and not expected from anyone who left Panda. Coney left. Josh, who was an employee of Panda, sent their letter of resignation. And then even IBDW, the second best Super Smash Bros. Melee player in the world, is leaving Panda. Tough choices. It all seems downhill for Smash. And so I thought I'd do something a little fucking crazy. I decided yesterday, in light of the response from Panda and Nintendo, and how the community seemed to respond to those, and how it seemed to be, honestly, a really sad end to the year of what should have been a great resurgence of Smash after the COVID years of online play, that we could do something cool and good. And so I'm creating my own tournament called the Scuffed World Tour. It's basically an effort at trying to do right by the Smash World Tour. And since there's not a lot of time left in the year, I decided to run it on December 18th. It's a one-day event, so it will only be on December 18th. Hopefully there are no events that are running the same exact time as that, because that would be really unfortunate. It would probably collide in viewership a lot, but hopefully you guys check out my event, which will feature the 8 highest placing Smash World Tour competitors. So all these people for Melee, all these people for Ultimate. That's the idea. And I've even been toying with the idea of adding 8 more players that we handpick for each game. So it's just a more stacked event overall. And what's the goal of the event? Well, one, to get as much viewership as we can over any other event that could be happening, because I want dominance in the scene. And also to raise money for VGBC and the Smash World Tour staff. Again, these are not huge conglomerates, not huge companies. They're not millionaires. The people running this are grassroots organizers who have been doing it for a decade, and they lost tens and tens of thousands of dollars having to cancel their event because of the last second night before Thanksgiving news from Nintendo. And so it only seems fair to me if we're able to join together as a community for one final event in the year, a final hurrah, get the best players in the world to play, and try to raise money for a good cause. And I'm putting up $25,000 for Melee and $25,000 for Ultimate for prize pooling, as well as flying all the people out. So that's my plan. Hopefully you guys tune in for that one. It should be a fun event. And that's it. That's the final update. And if Nintendo wants to sue me, I mean, hey, it'd make a great mogul mail. All right, subscribe, boys. See you later. All right, goodbye. See you later.